Hi everybody, do you remember me? It's been a long time, but we're here doing a Halloween picture this week, and it's pretty cool. Brandon really loved the art reference that I chose, and it's been a long time, so I'm gonna be rough, okay? But I am gonna start from the beginning, and we're gonna be doing it in acrylic today, which I couldn't decide whether to do acrylic or oil, but both of them have their demons. But acrylic sometimes come off if you layer it too much, and oil blends together. So please bear with me. We're going to do the best we can, and I hope you enjoy it. Today we're going to be doing a tombstone with a raven on it. And I think tombstones are interesting to read. This one's pretty scary though, so I want to warn you, it's pretty scary. We're going to start out with kind of a watercolor technique. So what I want to do is get my background on first, and it's a weird color. It is kind of a green black cream. There went my lid. So hang with me as I do this background. And then I'll kind of draw it in like a watercolor painting. Here's my black. I even bought a new kit for you all in acrylic. Mine are so embarrassing that I had to go buy a new one. All right. Let me go ahead and get my horizon drawn so I'll kind of know where to start and stop. And I think this is a good technique to start with. I'm going to do it, you have to sort of gauge it according to the size of your canvas. I'm going to say about right here. Be a good horizon line. That way we can get some good tombstone image on this. Hey, listen, a tombstone is inevitable. But I think Halloween, you can make them really cool. All right, I'm going to kind of draw where it'll go. Okay, it's going to go down behind the horizon line a little bit. Like I said, I'm going first. I haven't sketched this and cheated at all. You're going to see it all today. There we go. And when you're drawing lines, architectural lines, you need to do exactly what it looks like. And that sometimes they just get a line incorrect and it makes the whole thing go off. If you need help finding your lines, get your pencil, put it directly on your picture and practice which way that line goes. This line goes down. Even though it really doesn't make sense, it still does. This line goes up. And you really have to kind of, because it's illusionary when you look at it. But once you get it drawn, it makes sense. This goes here. I'm just going to get it sketched on here to keep my place. Here we go. And this line, I'm going to practice it. It goes this way, up just a little bit. I'll tell you what, I don't know how people afforded these nice ornate tombstones back then, but boy, they're expensive now. If you did one like this, it would cost you a bundle. But they're beautiful when they're aged, and you see mold, and I'm sick, isn't it? You see mold on them, and I just think some of the architecture back then, very artistic. Very honoring too. I just think it's really a cool, there we go, looking for my eraser. Once again, I'm using a kneaded eraser. They get dirty quick and they clean up quick too, which is a good thing. I'm going to erase this horizon line in the middle here. See how easy that comes off? All right, I'm going to stick it right here. Let's go back and continue to work on this. I want this to look great. All right. Hey, and guys, I think we'll do a Christmas one too. So this will be a good, seasonal show where we can just do one, not have to be here so often. And I hope you enjoy it. I don't want to wear you out. Here we go. I want to make these little ledges big enough where you can see the mold on it, because I think that's part of the cool part of this architecture, seeing that mold. When I went over to London, I saw an old graveyard. Man, they are gorgeous. Some of the tombstones were just beautiful. And I've got some pictures, but I just haven't had time to paint any of that, but I mean, you talk about old. And they were just so ornate and beautiful. All right, one more. Right down here, okay. I think that's gonna cut it. I want to kind of start the ground right below there so we can get some weeds on here too. All right, now let's get this line precise right here. That's just the bottom of it. The top is going to go up pretty high. All right, it's kind of curved here. This side's shorter, this side's longer. Now, here we go. And if you have trouble with balance, like you're trying to do a straight line and you're far away, put your pinky down. And that or you can put your arm against the table right here. But a pinky will suffice. Just put your pinky down and that kind of holds your balance so that you can do that straight line. And it also takes practice. And I hope that I'll get this straight. Just do several lines till you do. This line goes up right here. And then we start our circle. I want room for the blackbird, so I think I'm gonna take it down just a smidge. And I don't know, I think this one is a crow. They say ravens actually have a curved beak and crows are straight. But you know, they say they're very intelligent birds. All right, here we go. Let's get this curve on here. And this time of year, you know, we're starting to see fall. I don't know if they're migrating or what the deal is, but every year this time of year, you start seeing them around. I'm going to use this for a straight edge. You start seeing these crows around. And I told Steve, I said, is it my imagination or they're really more? He said, no, they're out there. You can hear them in the morning when you get up, but they're abundant this time of year. Okay, here we go. Let's get this. It goes up. This meets at the top. That shows that it's sort of turned at an angle. And I'm going to take my time, and I may not talk the whole time because I'm focusing, but I'll do the best I can. There we go. Okay. I think that gives me plenty of room for my bird. Let's see, he's not that big. Get him sketched on here. They're kind of big and thick. Okay, I don't think we're too high. Yep, I think we are. I'm gonna take him down just a little more. Guys, I told you I was rusty. But this eraser is very quick. I'm gonna take it down just a little bit more so he's not so high. Some of the cool parts about this painting is the background. So I wanna make sure I have plenty of room for that. Please be teachable and don't think, oh, I got it together, I can do this first time. Just because you erase a lot does not mean you can't do it. Eraser is your friend if you're an artist. You and your eraser should be very close buddies. There we go. There we go. I think this is going to work better. Yeah. And the paint will cover all these multitude of sins here. Here we go. Okay, I think that's better. That way we can see Mr. Crow. I'm gonna start with his feet this time. He's not down too far, but just a little more. And I tell you, 1 or 2 little inches or centimeters make a big difference in a painting. There we go. All right, now, there we go. That's the main focal of this painting, but the rest of it is the hard part. This would be easy. No problem with this, but the background is what is going to get to me, okay? I'm going to see if I can do this, and if we do wash away some of it, it's okay. We'll draw him back in, no big deal. Okay, clean up those lines a little bit. This background is very distant looking and very faded, and that's hard to do sometimes with paint. And I have not mastered it, but I'm going to give it a whirl this morning. It's mostly water. So what I want to do is give this painting a wash. So on my palette, I'm using more water, a lot of white, a little bit of a teal green and black. Here's my muddied up color. But what I want to do is really do more water than anything. So I've got my color rocking and rolling, but what I want to do is get that real wet and watery, and let's do a backwash like this. You want this kind of haunting looking for Halloween, kind of scary. I'll be honest, I'm not a big orange fan. I like green pumpkins. I like the warty green pumpkins. I don't know, there's something about orange that just kind of messes with my head. It's too, I don't know what it is. And you really probably should use the biggest brush you have for this background. I've got two this size, so we'll just make it work. Now, acrylic dries fast. That's another little demon of this medium. It dries very fast, so you have to work very fast with acrylic. Oil will sit and play with you all day long, but acrylic does not. It will dry quick, and then you start going on top, and it comes up from beneath. When I did murals, I don't know how I did it. I really don't know how I did it, but I would have to work really hard to get everything on without it drying on me. It was hard. Okay, let's just get this wash on here to make it even. So you don't have brush strokes. You want to go back and forth like this. Cross your fingers that they don't stay. Usually they don't. I should have sprayed it, but I didn't. It's okay. If the lead mixes in, it'll look all right. Sometimes when you spray your lead, it does great. Other times it'll, see, there you go, you're getting into your lead. It's okay. I will be getting into that color anyway. Your lead sometimes, or the hairspray sometimes, or whatever you're using as a fixative, interferes with your painting. So I just didn't want to chance it this morning. We hadn't done this in a while. All right, that's a basic color, just a little bit. I'm going to darken that some, but I thought I'd go ahead and get this going on down here, and then I'm going to watercolor the images in the background. We can get this going a little bit. Here's your horizon. Fast, fast, fast. And it's Friday, so fast is good. We can go home after this. Here we go. More water. This is almost a watercolor. And I'm not really a good watercolor artist at all. I admire people that are. I'm more of an acrylic oil girl. Gonna be adding a little more yellow down here. Let me go ahead and get that out. Just a yellow at the bottom. White is my friend today. I definitely want to use a lot of white. Okay, let's do a little bit of yellow down here. I don't want but 2 or 3 colors in this painting. We want it to look kind of spooky. And I don't know if this is dusk or dawn in this painting, but it definitely has the features of both. Just kind of cool for Halloween. Okay. All right. Got that backwash. Now, the hard part is coming up. What I have to do on this background is get these images on here, let them dry, and then go back over it with another backwash. So you guys cross your fingers. I hope this will work. Got some new brushes for you all. See how crisp and clean? I'm using nylon so that it is sharp. We want to make sure that these images are sharp. If you get a cruddy brush, sometimes they have their place, but this is not it. All right, I'm going to try this. It may drip or who knows what. I'm going to go ahead and do this little steeple back here in the back. Once again, we want it to be faded in the background. So I'm going to do it very light. Where you almost don't see it. But once, I want to see it enough where when I do my second wash, that you do see it. So let's get it on there. Not sure what this is in the background. It looks like it might be a church, actually. Here's my straight edge. How's this? You can see the reference that I'm following. That helps me. I use anything I've got as a straight edge. There we go. Kind of straightens that out a little bit. Now, once again, wash, wash. Go ahead and get the window in. Get this window in. There we go. A little more white. Now, if I get quiet, it's because I'm really concentrating. Here we go. Take your time. I'm trying to settle down in a hurry. Paper towel, a paper plate is your best friend too, with oil or acrylic. Make sure it's got a waxy finish on it. You can cover the top one with the other. Like when I'm through, if I want the paint to stay wet, you can go on top like this and even rubber band it and it'll work. It's really a good cheap palette, and when you're through with it, you can throw it away rather than cleaning it off. I like them, but now that's just me. Here we go. You want to be able to see it, but really, guys, I want this to be so faded, and there's really a trick to that, and I hope I get it today. Here we go. Let's fade that on out. Fade that on out. This background is kind of a dream-like background. Adding more water so it goes away. This goes straight down, but then you really don't see much of it down here. There is a roof here, not sure what it is. I'm using leftover paint, not fresh. I'm not adding a lot of paint at all. Just 2 or 3 little puddles is all I've got on my palette. Just, there we go. And then this line goes right down the middle, in front of it so I can see if it's straight. The roof ends here and it comes down pretty. That's about, let's get rid of that little line. That's about what I want. Real faded. May come up here with a little more color. Let's straighten this out. Hey, this is a lot harder than it looks, and I just trying to get it muted, but to be there. Because this guy we want to be predominant. This is just a hazy background. I'll get some water in here, and it may drip a little bit. See, I can tell already that's dried some. But with oil, and I love oil, I really do, and I know you artists out there that use it love it too. But sometimes after you paint something, you have to let it sit a little while with oil. You can't just go right over it and blend it. I will leave mine sitting for a couple of days and go back so that it settles. It's not dry, but it's settled. Acrylic's not like that. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, it's dry. So that's one good advantage. Please dry so I can go over that. All right, now I'm gonna add a little bit of umber to this bottom part. It looks like there might be bushes or haze. I'm gonna get my bigger brush again. Some kind of bushes down in here, a shrub of some sort. Really don't know. but it's dark down in here. I'm gonna get my brush and just whirl that around. Get that dark shrub in there. I want it right up to that tombstone. There we go. I cannot believe that it's almost Halloween. I just cannot believe it, but it is. It's almost Halloween. I have Frankenstein out in my front yard. People are coming up and saying, when are you gonna get him out? When are you gonna get him out? So I went ahead and got him out, put my spotlight on him. There we go. Now I hope that'll fade out some when I do my second layer. All right, bring it on down some. Doesn't have to really, there we go, see a drip. Get rid of that. I'm telling you, sometimes acrylic is hateful. The only way I know to put it. Let's get rid of that with some yellow. White is a fix-all. If you can't get it fixed with anything else, go back over it with white. And it kind of primes it and fixes it. All right, I'm leaving that like that. And we're going to go to the other side. This is background. And you do want to always, and I know I've preached this a lot being on this show, background first. That way you can correct it if you need to. And you artists that don't do that, more power to you. I don't know how you do that. Here we go. And I am a very detailed person, so it's hard for me to fade, but that's what I'm trying to do here, is get this faded. Add some more white. May not need to use much more in this little tube. We'll see. And sit back and look. Get up and walk around, come back and look at it again, and that sort of gets it acclimated again. You can sort of see what's going on. Really, it's amazing how if you walk away from your painting just for a little while and come back, you'll say, oh, I did that completely wrong. You just see it in a different eye. All right, I think that's faded enough. I may add a little more color to that shrub, because the tree, we got to get the tree in. Here we go. I don't know about you guys, I do love the old horror classics. I'm not a gore fest person. But they're always, a lot of times, I like them old where they're black and white. That's pretty old. But and I've even seen some really scary ones that don't have words. It's silent films where they have the words at the bottom. They are scary. Okay, here we go. I'm going to start a tree on this side. And my husband's not allowed to watch any more scary movies. He woke me up yelling the other night, because we watched one and he woke up and said there were people in the basement. I said, all right, that's it. No more scary movies for you. This tree, I'm going to bring it on in over here, closer to my tombstone. Faded, faded. And it's got a great big trunk that comes up here. I have no idea what kind of tree this is, but it's scary looking. Faded, faded. This is gonna kind of a dreamlike state. Here we go. Do want to see it though, so let's bring this big old trunk over in here. And then there's one that kind of comes up here. It's kind of weird. And I will say this, the bigger the canvas with acrylic, the faster you have to work. A little more black, more water. Starting a black puddle here. Get back up here to these weird branches. Thick and weird. I'll get a small brush and add to it in a minute. There we go. More branches. I'm gonna let that dry just a tad, get my smaller brush, and let's add some little ones. There's lots of little ones on this tree. But it looks kind of late in the year. I do see some fall leaves on it, but they're so distant you can hardly see them. All right. Gonna add a lot of little teeny weird ones here. And let's just cross our fingers that this dries so I can go over it with that last bit of fog. This has got tons of little branches on it. And it needs to be a little darker. So I'm gonna go a little darker with this tree, even if it's just one side. I love fall because you get to wear sweaters, and it's just beautiful. It's no humidity. I've enjoyed it so much this year. We've had a beautiful fall so far. Okay, here we go. A little more. This looks like one of those spooky trees on a Looney Tunes cartoon almost. Lots of little branches. Lots. There's a big conglomeration here. Okay, on up in here. They kind of intermingle with each other. And like I said, all this is going to be background. I'm going to go back over it again, and I want it to go way back. Look at this. It's mostly water and just tiny little puddles of paint on my palette. All right. Sometimes these really tall, fast-moving ones help if you stand up. I'm not going to today, but if you do have a standing easel, it'll work better sometimes because you can move with it. Get some more up in here. There we go. Yeah, you got to see some definition to this tree, so I'm going to add just a few more definite lines. The tree in my reference is a little darker than this. There we go. It's getting scary. I'm going to add a little darkening at the bottom just to kind of ground it. Plus it looks like there's something growing down here. You really can't tell what it is, but there's some kind of a base. Y'all please don't think I'm sick and wrong, but I do follow a cemetery enthusiast line on my phone, and it is so interesting, and it takes you all over the country and shows you some of the most interesting tombstones and graves in the world. Very interesting. There was one guy, while we're doing a grave scene here, that had claustrophobia, and he didn't want to be shut in to a grave, so he had them bury him all the way, and they don't always go 6 feet under. I don't know if you knew that or not. But he wanted to be buried with a glass front on his casket. So that's what they did, and I can't imagine what that was like. But that's a true story. But they take you all over the world, Europe, all these different places, all these hundreds and hundreds of year-old graves, the ones that are still intact. Very interesting what some of the epitaphs say. And all the ornate artwork. I think it's interesting. Now I want this tree to stand out a little bit. Some of these branches are going to go in behind this tombstone. Let's not have them stop. A little more grounding down here. Here we go. All right, now I'm trying to decide when to stop. I think I might go ahead and do just a little more darkening on this trunk. Not much though, because I want to go over it and I want it to be so background. All right, we'll see here. I may have added too much water. Let's see if we can get this. A little more color without. Nah, let's go a little darker. I'm being brave here. Add a little more. I'm using this angled brush for these little teeny branches. There we go. There we go. Okay, and we don't really want to see all the detail, but we do want to know it's back there. I'm going to go get a little darker down here because you only get one chance. Once we start going over it with the fog, it's either going to stay or go away. So I want to make sure you see this. This is some kind of a shrub, and it's dark. So I'm going to dry brush the rest of that on there, hopefully. Yeah, there we go. Little bit more intense down here. All right. I think now let's do the roof a little darker. One more shot at each one of them. We're going to let those dry. I'm copying a photograph, so mine will look like a painting, not a photograph. If you copy a painting, yours will look like a painting of a painting, and you don't have quite the detail. So remember that. If you're copying a painting, it's going to be a painting of a painting. And it'll usually step down a notch. It's better if you can copy a photograph. Okay, dark back here. There's some kind of door here. Okay, there's a little architecture down here. I swear I think this tree, guys, I'm so sorry. I think I'm going to let that tree go just a tad darker. I want to see it as part of the coolness of it. All right. Now, a little more. Y'all, it's hard to paint and talk. Here we go, a little bit more. But I want to put you all to sleep. That's my goal. So I'll talk in this really soft Bob Rossi voice. And maybe some of you all will go to sleep. And when you wake up, it'll be finished. There we go, a little more, a little more. There's really nothing on this side. Okay. Now, it's got to dry a minute. So Brandon can either stop the camera or I'm going to take this off of my easel, if it'll come off. And I am going to do this. I'm just going to let that dry. Acrylic is very, very quick drying. But it has to dry before I do that tombstone with the crow. Hope I'm not making you dizzy. You can put it in front of a fan if you want to. Let's see, we'll check it. Tighten that up again. There we go. It's dry to touch already. Yeah, it's a little wet up in here. We'll let that dry just a minute. While that's drying, I'm going to go ahead. Hey, this is another good idea. You can do like this. Make sure that's dry. And the reason is I'm going to go back over this with a fog. Just a little fog. I want it to go back. And then this will be super high detail. All right. While that's drying, let's go ahead and get our fog color, which is going to be white, mainly white. We're going to have a little bit of, actually it looks like it's got a bit of little ochre in it, which is this color. Not much, but just a tad. And a little bit of that teal again. Just a tad. It'll be quite the challenge to get that done. And black. All right. Okay, let me feel it again. I think we're dry enough. Cross your fingers. All right, tighten that up a little bit. Let's get that mixed. I'm mixing white, tad a little bit of teal. I'll be able to tell if I get this color or not. And I tell you how I do mixed color. I look at it and just eyeball it and mix it like that. And I just think that takes a lot of practice. But you should be able to just eyeball your color and get it on there. All right, that's it. Now I'm dry brushing it on. Cross your fingers. This is a hard technique. See, it's mostly paper plate. I do have a little color in there. Let's see if this will work. And it's getting there. And I want you to remember something. This is just paint. We're not getting a tattoo. It's not forever and ever and ever. If you have to redo it, you can redo it. Let's test it over here. Yeah, we want some of this to go away. I'm just doing a swirly fog. Try not to leave any obvious loose marks. We want it smooth. Trying not to do water, just paint. There we go. I want that background. Now I'm gonna have to do some water. Not much. Get back into just paint. I want anything sharp or forward to go back. Okay, kind of going away. Clean this up a little bit. See, it's going away, yay! I think it'll work, hang on. This is not an easy little task now. Want all this in the background. And we'll get that crow and tombstone done, lickety-split. This is the hard part. There we go. Y'all see it going back a little bit? Staying in my puddle, same color, fogging over everything. But I don't want it to be necessarily a white fog. I want a little green in it. I want a little gray in it. And worst case scenario, if it's not foggy enough at the end, I'll go back over it. But I just don't want to get into my main focus, which is my tombstone and my raven or my crow. Want to get rid of those canvas holes. Fogging that way down. Okay, you see? It's starting to look kind of scary. Down here too. It's there, but it's going away. I think we got it dry enough. There we go. Yay, it's going away. I'm so excited. More down here. Let's get that away. Not too wet. That'll take it up from the bottom. That's when acrylic gets hateful, is if it's not dry underneath and you get it wet again, it'll pull it up. Just remember that. Very smooth strokes. I'll let that dry and I'm gonna come over here. Yeah, we're getting spooky. Tiny little bit of green, tiny little bit of ochre, more white. Less water, Lisa, don't do water. Here we go, let me add some more white. I've got a cool one if we do Christmas. It's a beautiful house, dark, 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 with mainly all you see are white Christmas lights, and it's pretty. I'm hoping we can do it. All right, it's a little bit dark. Let's get back into my white. Don't you lose that tree. But I do want it background, but we don't want to lose it. Get right up to Mr. Crow. Get rid of some of that artwork. There we go. Go away. Swirling this little film over everything. Blend it a little bit so you don't see swirl marks. It's working. All right, let's keep working here. Tad little bit of water, not much. I'm gonna add a little bit of our color. Oh, diddle squat. That yellow takes over. You have to be careful. There we go. I want to get rid of those dark lines, and they're all background. Starting to see it. And really, you only have one, you just need to go over it once. Because if you keep on and keep on, you're going to pull it off. I am pushing and swirling. Pushing in, giving it some pressure to get rid of those canvas holes, and swirling to get rid of that artwork so it's background. Okay. A tad more water. I know this is kind of redundant, but this is how you do it. It is hard to get a background fade, but it will look more faded once you get high detail up front. Or a background blur is hard to get to. There we go. Make sure your canvas is on there tight. Because I'm kind of rough on it. I'm pushing it around. All right, let's get down here. Get rid of that artwork. I keep leaning back to look. I'm probably adding a little too much water. I'm trying not to. All right, let's get rid of this artwork. Grass and all. Okay, it's starting to fade back. I want it to look like a dream. I don't want it to have much vision to it at all. We want it to go back. Add a little more black, not much. More white. White is our friend on this one. Okay. Paper towel is your friend. Dab it off on your paper towel like this. Just bang it on there. Get that paint off, that water off. So you almost have a dry brush again. Now I'm losing a little bit of my lines on my tombstone, but that's okay. You can get it, draw it back on with your paintbrush. That's why we spray it, so you don't lose your lines on your drawing. But you should be learning as an artist to be able to paint it right back on. Here we go. Now guys, bear with me, and I want you to remember too, I'm doing this in less than an hour. So I am kicking butt on this painting. If you've got time and you have a studio where you are, whatever, you've got time to play with this. You can fog this all day long. But I want to get this done so you can see a finished painting. There we go, we're fogging on down. Isn't that cool? I was worried. The paint cooperated. I'm so glad. I think the more you fog it down, the better it's going to look. So I'm really adding it to it. Now once again, it'll start coming up if I do too much. So let's finish this up. Right down here. Get this green gone. Okay, does that look like a smoky background? I hope so. Okay, now I'm going to end this fog and I'm going to start on your detail. And if we need to at the end, we can fog up areas that are too bright. I'm scared if you start getting into it when it's not dry, it starts pulling it up. You have to be so careful. I'm leaving it alone. All right, now we're going to get into our detail. We got our background pretty much done. This is where you use your stiff, pointy brushes like these, because we're going to basically redraw this. Now black is going to be my friend. Getting back to my other palette. Here we go, guys. I want to use the black to kind of outline that tombstone. It's got a lot of green and yellow in it. Same colors we've been using. Let me get a little ochre over here too. All right, because they turn moldy and green after they've been there a long time, and that's what's cool about them. All right, now, pinky down or hand down, let's get that straight line. Redraw our tombstone. I want this vivid, so that everything in the background looks background. So I'm going to start doing this and then we'll vivid it up. Here we go. Get these lines on here. Do whatever you have to do to keep a straight line. Okay, I'm going to put my pinky down again. There we go. I did black fingernail polish just for you all. Here we go. It's a little brown, but that's okay. I'm going to get my lines in first. All right, let's leave that just a minute. Let's get the other side. Remember, it's got a little etch out here, and then it goes straight down. There's a pretty little curve right there. Pretty little curve right here. we go. All right, let's see, I've lost my place. There we go. And then this is straight down right here. All right. Getting a little bit of mossy green brown on here at the top. I probably should have covered the whole thing first. We can. Let's just get this dark up here. Then we'll start doing the whole thing. I want it bold, so I've got to get with it here. Let's get it bold. Get more white and more black and more green. And I will say this, take your time when you paint. Don't rush. I am rushing a little bit, and I don't mean to, but take your time. It's so relaxing. It's really good therapy. Turn your phone off and just enjoy paying attention, enjoy blending the colors, enjoy seeing it come alive. It feels like you have produced something. It's a very productive feeling. And, you know, you can look at it for years to come. But just really take your time when you paint. Don't rush. It's not a race. Unless you're on TV. Here we go. There we go. I'm going to do some little moldy spots on here too. Nature has beat this tombstone up, which it looks pretty cool actually. Get that little edge out. There we go. The green is real important in this picture. Add a little teeny bit of ochre to it. This edge is quite a bit darker. And you really can't mess this tombstone up. It's pretty, you know, it's pretty mangled as it is. Okay, just the lines are going to be important. This side's a little lighter, and then the front's pretty dark. There we go. Let's get this little ledge in. There's some moldy stuff on this ledge and this over here too. I've actually done a little artwork on some people's tombstones. And what they did, I don't know how they did it, but they just had me come in and just, you know, draw a few things like some music notes, and then they went somewhere and had it done, whatever they did, I don't know. But that was interesting. All right, let's make this cruddy. So what I want to do is just kind of shove my brush around, add a little bit of green. That wouldn't be my favorite thing to do. But you know, hairdressers go and they work on people. I mean, you know, there's a lot of people involved in this whole process. Hairdressers, makeup artists. Here we go. Ooh, too much green. Let me get some brown on here. It needs to be on there. We just need to, and it's okay if it's strong because this part is supposed to be really strong. It makes the background go back further. You know, if a grave is too old, it sinks down in the ground, and that's because years ago they did wooden caskets, and they didn't do all the high-fangled stuff we do now. And do you know that, I should be getting into all this, should be talking about paint, but did you know that they really don't take people 6 feet under? That's kind of a myth. They did during the Black Plague and times when disease killed a lot of people. They'd take them all the way under 6 feet, but now they don't have to take them that far down. And a lot of times too, they put somebody else on top of them, like a husband or a wife would want to be buried in the same plot, so they don't take them down that far anymore. Just a little food for thought there while we're doing this tombstone. I'm going to crud this up more. It's starting to come alive. No pun intended. More crud, more crud. All right, let's leave that crud there and start down here. It's real dark here for some reason, but that's okay. And that bird's going to be real dark too. I will probably darken this more so that that background really pops. So y'all bear with me. We've got some cool, scary weeds we're going to put in this too. All right, let's remember what we did because I have painted it out. All right, this goes out. Let's see, that's that ledge. This is that ledge. There is a ledge here, and there's a good size ledge here. All right, keep an eye on your art reference. And if you have to put your finger where you are so you don't lose your spot, that's okay. It helps you. It's kind of like learning to read. When you put your finger down, that'll help you keep your place, because when you're going back and forth, it's easy to lose your place painting. Putting your finger down really does help. All right, let's get this dark right in here. I want it dark. There we go. And it's dark here too. We probably ought to do some Halloween music while we paint this. That would give you of course you may not go to sleep. Want to do some white mold on this. Okay. Let's get it solid, and I'm going to add mold all the way down. That's looking pretty cool. I am going to darken it some. Here we go. There's this line, and it goes out and down. This goes up and out and down. And I'm just using my paintbrush to redraw. So make sure your paintbrush is sharp. You don't want to fraze. There we go. And this goes out and down. And this little curvy, this goes down. Is that right? Yes. And another little curvy. There's our base. All right, we're getting there, folks. Let's add a little more green, a little more yellow. A little more brown. I'll make that really dark down here. Okay, here's a line. This architectural stuff is a lot of fun, but it's tedious, and you have to kind of pay attention. I think I got that right. All right, more black. We want more black so the mold shows up. Oops, went out of line there. Now, one of the reasons you do background first is if you do go out of line, like I just did, you can get that background and fix it. Okay, I'm gonna add a little more brown to that green. And really the tombstone is the focal here. The bird won't take 3 seconds. The tombstone and the weeds and the mold. Let's get it a little darker. I tell you, another pretty Halloween picture, guys, is to do a dark house, just 2 or 3 colors, and then do a really cool light in the window, and that's it. That's a good scary Halloween picture. I've done a couple of those this year. They look really cool. All right. Squirt out some more black here, and the one I'm using is permanent black. There's all different ones. Ivory is a little bit gray. Payne's gray is a little black with blue in it. This permanent black's pretty dark, and that's what you want for this one. And I'm just using a little starter kit, which is a great way to play paintbrush, play artist without going into a lot of expense. Get you a little starter kit. Any of the art stores have them. And use that to start. There we go. We're going to crud off some of this. I still want it a little bit darker. These edges are really dark with crud. Yeah, can't y'all hear the Halloween music in the background from the movie Halloween? That's been on a lot lately. That's a good one. Okay, more black. We're getting there. Let's do a few little moldy spots. And we'll blend them in. That's probably where your green will come in handy. We'll add some green to that. Not get too bright. More black. Get rid of those canvas holes. You do that with water. That's your blending medium for acrylic. You do it with Turpenoid and linseed oil if it's oil. Next one we'll do an oil. Okay. Now I'm still going to do a little bit of damage down here, but let's go on up to the tombstone part up here, and I want to get this pretty dark up in here. I want that little ledge to show right here and go down. Okay, now this is where a cruddy brush would come in handy. I'm not sure I brought one. A cruddy brush is, yeah, here's one that you hadn't really taken care of and it's got a lot of paint left over. You can use that cruddy brush because it's not real sharp and crud up this paint right here so that it gives it kind of an old mossy finish. There we go. Yeah, if your brush is too sharp, that won't work. You got to get one of these brushes that are frayed. You didn't clean it very well, and they really have a wonderful purpose. See how good and cruddy that's looking? You want the sharp ones for your lines, and then you can get creative with these. Down this side, you want some crud. Keep your pinky down to keep it straight, if you can. Hang with me. This has really been worn, so we want to make sure it's kind of got a little green in there too. Where's my green? Here it is. And I'll tell you what, the green dries quick on your palette too. Oil will stay for 2 weeks. Now we've got to put some word matter a little bit on this to make it look real. I'm just going to add a little more mossy green in there. Up and down through here too. All right. Get a little brown. I'm just basically using 3 colors. 3 or 4 for this whole painting. Now I'm using my nasty brush to crud this up down here. You don't want anything even and pure about this. We want it cruddy and scary. And really, it's a technique. It's not that easy. You think, oh, that'd be easy. No, it's not. This is very hard. All right. All right, now I've got leftover paint. Let's have it travel up this a little bit. Travel up this one a little bit. Now, I want to get some white and put some definite mold here and there. A little green. I'm just going to kind of splatter that around a little bit. Definitely down here, and I don't know if that's just mold or bird poop. I'm not sure which one, but it doesn't matter. Might be that crow's doing above here. A little more yuck, especially up in here. We're getting there. Let's do the word matter. Now we're going to need a small, teeny weeny, pointy brush. That might be too big. Let's try one of these. Yeah, no, I can control that one better. Hang on. This one's fine. One of these. It's small, but it's not microscopic small. You can get them teeny weeny, and that's for dots and eyes and things like that. I want it faded, but we've got to have some verbiage in here. So let's just do a little image here. And then you're not going to be able to read what it says because it's so old, but we will do another little image here maybe. Don't you dare drip. I don't think it will. Let's do another image here. Let's do some tiny little verbiage in here, not much. Use your finger if you have to. Really can't see what it says. This one's so old. There we go. We're getting there. All right, now let's do the top. He's kind of faded out again while I've got this brush. This is a good one for that. I want this to stick out just a little more. There we go. Got my pinky down. This is a good brush to do some fine detail. This is a good brush to do the crow with. That's what we'll do. Okay, I've got most of that. Let's add a few more moldy whites on here. I think this might be bird poop. All right. Add a little brown. Yeah, let's put that down. Now this would be a good time to get up and walk away, but I'm not going to. Just to see where we are, see what it needs. I do see some stuff over here. I'm gonna get some brown and white. There we go. It needs some junk over here. Really don't know what it is, but it needs to be there. Same way here. Let's straighten this line out. Cruddier the better. All right, now let's start on Mr. Bird. We are going solid black. Hang with me. I'm going to push this a little closer so I can reach him. And really, these, I'm going to add a little blue. These, anytime you do a black animal, whether it be dog, bird, whatever, they have got, I'm going to use my teal. They've got a little blue in them. Here we go. Redrawing him. Got him sketched and I can see some of that. Hardcore black. Don't want him too skinny. We'll call him a crow. Well, no, yeah, we'll call him a crow because a raven has got like a pointy beak and they're a lot bigger. Getting his little image here. Now let's go thicker with the black. See how that's faded in the background now? You get this dark detail and it goes back further. Y'all will make him a raven, we will. We'll just crook his little, there we go. Crook his little beak down a little bit. That's scarier looking. Oh yeah, he's cool. They're all over my neighborhood. It's funny, around Halloween, I've got little fake blackbirds and I don't put anything else out like the 1st of October except the little blackbirds. And I will stick them here and there all over the house. And my kids will come in and go, oh goodness, it's getting time. They'll see the little blackbirds. I put them on shelves and my coffee maker and, you know, Mom, you were so messed up. But it's just, that's what you see outside. There we go, we're getting him good. I'm gonna add a few highlights on him too. He's basically a silhouette. And his feet go this way. You see a little bit of a crow thing here. There we go. Get rid of those canvas holes. Make his feathers not perfect. And then let's add your highlights. This is where you get your green and white, or blue and white. Let me squirt some more out. It's dry already. There we go. Just a little bit, but we've got to define where his wing is right here. There's a highlight on his back right here. And his beak, we'll get a little bit right there. right, now I want to add a little more. Oh, let me show you. We're going to do the scary weeds, and then we'll be just about through. There is a little image on the side of this one too I want to get in. And one thing when you're painting, you can always add, go back and add what it needs. I'm seeing canvas holes right in here. I just kind of want to get rid of those. You can go back and add whatever you need to add. And since you did your background first, you can take it away as well. Let's do that little ledge. Okay. There we go. Let's do the weeds down below. Since we do have a base, I think I'm going to go ahead and just do a little dark base down here, a dark ground, like this. Maybe just a tad darker, not much. I really want those weeds to be forefront. Then you want to get your smaller brush like this, that we did the crow in. Get your solid black. There's no pretty to these weeds at all. And let's make them come up from the ground. Just kind of rough. Twist your brush as you bring them up. There's one great big one. All right, let's get him rolling. He goes all the way up, twisty, all the way over. Let's twist him a little bit. This comes all the way over. I'm twisting as I go up. These have little nodules of some sort on them too. We'll put those on in a minute. But this adds to the spookiness of all this. So we'll add these little weird nodules. It's like really leftover weed. Pretty cool. He's looking pretty cool. Halloween paintings are fun. I like doing the elementary ones too, where you have the orange and the little ghost pulling a wagon. Those kind of things. They're fun to stick around. This one's a little more serious, scary one. A few more nodules. Let's add some more. And it's so dark in the front. I'll get it dark where you don't see the front. Let's get that bigger brush. We'll do this one. And let's just darken this whole area here. Take it all the way down here where you don't see where they start really. How fun. Paint for therapy. Paint for therapy, guys. It really does feel good. I can't wait to get to my easel at my studio and be in quiet and just paint for therapy. I'm just seeing a few things I'm touching up. There's a little mold crawling up this part right here. Now, if this were oil, you would have to let it settle and dry before you added all these extras. Otherwise, it's just a blended mess. So oil is completely different, really it is, than the acrylic. They both have their advantages. A few more nodules. We're about finished. Twisty little weeds. I don't think we need any more fog. I think that's pretty good. But if you wanted to add some more fog, you could, but we want this to be forefront and the background to go away. Add some thorns on this. We're about there. A few more thorns. Don't overpaint. I think we're finished. Thank you for the show today. It was a lot of fun. It's good to see you all again.